Alright, so this is going to be painting day, hopefully, for the engine. We've got it all stripped down to what we need to have off of it to get it painted and cleaned up first. And spent some time last night plugging and taping off stuff. So I couldn't figure out the easy way to get the cam sensor out, so that just got taped up. It's a Gen 4 engine, so I'm guessing you don't just take the bolt out and it pops out. It didn't, even under a moderate amount of pressure, it didn't want to come out, and I didn't want to force it, so I didn't want to break it. The crank sensor, on the other hand, was no problem. Just took that bolt out, popped it out. I had a plug that fit the hole pretty good, so that's in there. And I'm gonna run some tape over the exhaust ports just to keep the paint out of there. I already did that on this side, and I taped up the intake ports. The main thing is you don't want paint on the surface where the O-ring seals. Just kind of a good idea not to have that there. And other stuff to tape up to. The PCV vents are taped up. Got some wire wheeling done on the top part. Still got some. Let's see if I can wire. This block is kind of hard to wire wheel with all the ribs and everything in it, so not sure how well that's all going to come out, but we'll give it a shot. And we got our plug done for where the oil cooler used to be down here. I took the original fitting off the end of the coolant line that ran to the cooler and removed it. It had a plastic piece with a clip in it, and I popped the clip out. Clip went flying. I never found it, but I did. It did enable to just pull the hose out of there. There was an O-ring down there. Popped the O-ring out, and then I drilled and tapped it to 1/2-inch pipe. We got a black iron plug that I have threaded into that, so hopefully that all seals up good. So that part's done, and we'll be finishing this up, and hopefully if the wind dies down, we'll wheel it outside and hose some paint on it. Once that's done, we can get back on the engine bay prep in the car here. Well, alright, still a little windy and chilly, but we have it out here. And all degreased and stuff. Hopefully not too much wind for the camera here, but we're going to leave it dry for a few minutes, and then we're going to start hosing paint on it. So it's kind of cold and windy here today. Well, it's not really that cold, about 50 degrees, but it is windy. Makes it feel cold, and it also takes heat out of the garage. So what we're doing right now, we hosed one can of this paint on there as a first coat. This is the 2x Rust-Oleum Real Orange. It's the closest thing I could find to Chevy Orange. This stuff covers really well, and it is real glossy, so it should work pretty well. Hopefully it doesn't burn off, but setting it right there on the boiler, it gets the can nice and warm, which raises the pressure, which makes it a little easier to paint with. I also turned on the big monster radiator there, so it'll drive the temperature of the garage up. So once we get the last coat on the engine, well, actually I'm going to bring it in after the next coat, and we'll see if that's enough. We'll bring it in here, let it heat up, make sure the paint cures right, we might have to put another coat on it after that. Not sure, but we'll find out. But that's the plan for now. Kind of windy out there, so I don't know if we can take the camera out there or not. Let's see. There it is. One can on it. It covered pretty well. Still needs at least another coat. So, we'll get it on there. Okay, so we hosed another can and a half on it actually. I think it's about done now, so we'll let it cure in here. And then we'll pull all the tape and everything off of it and see what we got. But it looks pretty good. I mean, it did coat really well. The casting, especially up in here, is really difficult to get because of all the hidden spots and everything. So you got to try and spray all angles. It's a little tricky to get in there, so you end up using a lot of paint. But yeah, this came out pretty good. I wasn't sure if this was actually gonna turn out to be a Chevy Orange, but that is, to my eye, that is pretty close to most of the old Chevy small blocks that I'm used to seeing. I mean, it's a bit shiny now, so it'll dull down just a little bit as it dries. So yeah, I'm pretty freaking happy with that. That came out really good. I didn't go heavy on this because we have a non-displacement on demand valley cover to go on here, so I'm probably actually going to paint that shiny black for a little contrast, and the intake manifold's black too, so that should look pretty good. I was kind of on the fence about the valve covers. I was thinking about painting them shiny black, but hey, they look good, Chevy Orange, so I think that's the way they're going to stay. You can also see a lot of the casting numbers on them now. They're popped out. These are 823 heads. For those of you who keep track of LS type heads, I only know a little bit about them, but I know they're plenty good enough for what we're going to do. And there's the casting in the back, 6.0 liter. And there's another one up in the front here that I never even noticed before. It says 6.0 liter. And it's got a casting number, I guess that's a casting number, 22482. But yeah, it looks good. I think we're going to be okay with that, just like that. It's the Axeman over here is like pumping heat like crazy right now because that gigantic radiator that's underneath everything is on. That radiator holds quite a few gallons of water. So the Axeman's trying to turn that water into 160-degree water. So as a result, this thermometer that's up over top of the radiator is just a hair under 90 degrees. One over here by the other window is about 81 degrees. So, yeah. We'll leave everything all closed up in here for a while. And once the paint dries on that, we can cover it up so dust doesn't get on it, and then we can get back in the engine compartment. We have the manual steering rack, so one of the things that has to happen before the engine goes in is the steering shaft needs to be replaced, because the new rack comes with a new steering shaft, and you know, it's a 30-year-old car with 100,000+ miles on it, so probably a good idea to change the steering shaft. And as you can imagine, with an LSV8 in there, changing the steering shaft is going to be next to impossible. So we're going to take care of that before we actually go any further.